Hi. Hi everyone. I'm going to be reading you Barrilete, A Kite for the Day of the Dead. And this is going to go, I'm going to read this book and then we're going to make our own kites. So this is on our craft for today. So, Barrilete. Here's the picture. Okay, I'm going to read it. The rainy season is coming to an end. I'm going to hold it this way. There we go. The rainy season is coming to an end. When Juan looks up at the sky, he sees fewer fluffy white clouds blowing up the valley on the soft south wind. The corn, la milpa, that feeds his village is almost ready to harvest. Now is the time to get ready for the most important day of the year. Yes. El Dios de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, is also the Day of the Kites. Los Barriletes in Santiago, Zacatepeques, where Juan lives with his parents and his brothers Jose and Beto. Abuelo, their grandfather, used to make the kite with the boys' help. But this year, Abuelo died just before the rains. Las Lluvias, I'm probably saying that wrong, sorry. I don't speak Spanish, came just when La Milpa was poking out of the steep hillside fields. Now Juan must try to remember all the things Abuelo taught him. With the help of Jose and his friends Tomas and Rafa, he will build the kite himself. Beto is very little, but he will learn by helping, as they once did. There we go. The boys of Santiago climb onto their roofs and test the wind with small kites. They are impatient. I know what that's like to be impatient. I'm sure you all do. The leaves of La Milpa shine golden in the sun. The corn is ready to be picked. And then one day Juan notices that some of the village fields have been harvested and cleared. It is getting cooler. This morning Jose told him he could see his breath when he went out to wash his face in La Pila, the basin in the yard behind his house. Here we are. Now the boys have time to go to the market. When they come home, they are carrying a pile of papel de China. The tissue paper is red, yellow, blue, green, and orange, like a rainbow, an arco iris. The paper is cut into squares, triangles, and rectangles. First, a cardboard circle is cut for the center. Then round and round, piece by piece, the bright paper is pasted in an ever-growing circle. Inside the dark house, the colors glow softly. There you go, you can see. Look, isn't it beautiful? This is the best time of all. Each kite in Santiago will be different. Some people will put pictures on their kites, others just plain patterns. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Once the kites are up in the air, they will rip a little, but no one minds because they are still beautiful. Beto likes to fly kites. It is easier. They're all getting ready. Isn't that beautiful? Other boys and girls of the village, the grown-ups too, are all busy preparing for the day. Time to go and see how other families are getting along. How big will Rosa's brother's kite be? Hasn't Juanita's family even started yet? They'll never be ready. Today, Juan's mother is making tortillas from the new corn. Last night she ground the corn in her stone metate. She added water and lime and then let it sit overnight. Juan can hear the sound of her hands tortinando, slapping a ball of masa, dough, into the shape of a circle and then down onto el comal, a flat clay plate sitting on the fire. A delicious smell fills the house. Pedro loves tortillas and eats as many as he can. A neighbor helps him. When Juan walks outside, he can see the Volcán de Fuego has been erupting. It does often, but instead of rising straight up into the sky, the plume of smoke is bending. Esta Morteando. The north wind is blowing. The sky overhead is deep blue. It is getting ready for El Dia de los Muertos too. So there she is, making the tortillas over the fire. And then there's the volcano erupting. There we go. Everything is ready. It is almost time. The kite is lying folded on the floor. Sticks for building the frame, made from the wild reed, cana brava, are stacked in the yard of the house, waiting to be attached to the kite. First comes Todos Santos, All Saints' Day. Juan and Jose stay home while their family goes to Mass. Many people in the village are there. The church is smoky from the candles and el copal, incense, burning in front of the altar. But Juan and Jose and their friends are busy getting ready for tomorrow. They lay the great circle of paper on the ground. Then they place the spokes just inside, just so. If they are too far apart, the paper will tear. If they are too close together, the kite will be too heavy. So there's their kite, and they're getting it ready while everyone else is in Mass. Beautiful. That's a big kite. We're making kites too, but not quite as big. While they work, they remember everything Abuelo taught them. They remember how the old man's strong hands tied and cut and pasted paper to make the most beautiful barrilete in the world, and how he mounted it onto the frame to make it steady. A string is tied around las canas, almost at their ends, to create a big circle. The colored paper circle is folded over the string and glued in place. Finally, 3 ropes are tied onto las canas, right through the paper, and attached to the flying rope itself. Here they are. There we go. Hard at work. Now they make the fringe, which rustles with the wind, is strong enough to lift the kite. They can't decide whether to add flags to their kite, as many people do. In the end, they do. Just as the sky turns morning pink over the mountains, Juan runs outside. The dew has frozen on the grass. It is cold, but there is no wind. He runs back inside. It is time to get ready. Time to go. But where is the wind? Soon the whole village is up. Huge kites are carried down to the small village roads between the adobe walls of the houses, down to El Cementerio. People are buried here, some in what look like small houses. On El Dia de los Muertos, the village comes to El Cementerio to sit down with the dead and keep them company. They pray for them and tell them what has been happening in the village all year. Juan whispers to Abuelo, "Today I will fly a kite I made for you. I hope you like it. I hope it flies." Just then Juan shivers a little. He looks up. A gust of cold wind has tickled his neck. As the sun rises in the sky, the wind grows stronger. He can see pine needles move. He can see his kite and all the kites trembling a little. He can hear the fringe rustling. See that beautiful kite. The time has come. Tomas, Rafa, and Jose run over. They pick up the huge kite. Beto watches. He wish he were bigger. Juan takes the heavy ball of rope. Will it work? Will it fly? All around him, people are doing the same. The kites are straining at the wind. Juan gathers up his rope and starts to run down the hill. He can feel the kite pulling. "Abuelo," he prays, "make my kite fly. It will fly for you." And then suddenly he feels a lift on the other end of the line. He looks over his shoulder, and there, El Barrilete is just leaving Jose's hand on its way up to the sky. So there they are, and then there it is, it's flying. Make sure. Okay, we're going to read a little bit about this. In Guatemala, there is a village called Santiago Zacatepeques. It is a very small village, but a famous one nonetheless, because once a year on November 2nd, the Day of the Dead, the people of Santiago fly some of the biggest kites in the world. The kites can be as big as 7 meters, 23 feet in diameter, and all made by hand by the people of the village. The people who live in Santiago are Quixemaya. descended from one of the greatest civilizations ever known. Among other things, the Maya are great artists who painted brilliantly colored murals and books. Their descendants, who still live in Guatemala and Mexico, are known for the beauty of their handicrafts and weaving. The kites of Santiago, with elaborate designs of brilliantly colored paper, are another form of art made by the Maya today. Barrilete is the Guatemalan word for kite. The same word is used in Argentina. But there are almost as many different names for kite in Latin America as there are countries. In Bolivia and Chile, it is called volantan. In Brazil and Paraguay, pandorga. Colombians, Cubans, Ecuadorians, Panamanians, Peruvians, and people in Uruguay call it cometa, as do Spaniards. But in Salvador and Nicaragua, a kite is piscucha. In Honduras, papalote, or papalote, I'm not sure, sorry. While in Mexico, it is called papalote, which is Nahuatl Aztec word for butterfly. In Puerto Rico, the very same kite is called a chiringa, but in the Dominican Republic, it is a chichigua. While in Venezuela, you fly a papagayo. So this is why we read this book, and we're going to make our very own barrelettes, our very own kites.